front room 340.
Oh yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Steve. I actually run a business. It's a book selling business. That's my storefront window. I'm looking for a volunteer to start things off. Please come on up. What's your name?
Noelle?
Noelle is actually called Billy.
Okay.
Your name is Billy. Billy is a hoodlum. Billy's going to throw this football right through my window.
Now?
Give me a better hook this time.
Like in front of it?
Yeah. Wow. Oh no. Wow. You just broke my window.
Way to go, Joey.
Thank you. You can sit down.
Okay.
How should I feel about what just happened? Someone help me get up here, tell me, think through my feelings right now. Someone get up. Hands up, somebody. Come up here. Okay, what's your name?
Jay.
Wrong, it's Carl.
Carl.
So Carl is going to help me think through my emotions right now. So this is your thinking beard. Okay? Now when you think, you got to stroke your beard a little bit, right? So let's think through what just happened. Billy just threw a ball through my window. Just broke my business. Is this a good thing or a bad thing, Carl?
It's not great.
It's not great. Everyone agree?
Yeah.
Okay. But, Carl, isn't it true that let's say I now have to replace my window, correct?
Of course.
By replacing this window, I'm going to have to spend about $1,000 to get a new window from the window maker, aka the glazier. That's $1,000 more to the glazier. Is the glazier better off because of my broken window?
Probably, yeah.
Probably, yeah. Everyone agree? He's better off. The glazier has some employees. Those employees, they have business, they can now get paid in their wages. Are the employees of the glazier better off? Yes?
Yeah.
Everyone agree? Okay. Those employees can then go on to other businesses in the city. They can spend their money going to other bookstores, other grocery stores, other guitar stores, and all those other businesses would be better off. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah? Everyone agree? Yes? So, by breaking my window, did Billy actually help the economy of the area? Is everyone better off? Yeah?
Well, not you.
Well,
You have a broken window.
but everyone else is better off. Again, well, I paid $1,000 to get a new window. So I get a window, I get a new window, everyone else gets to spend a little bit more money. So the economy's better off, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wrong. This is why you're in this class, because you all agreed with this logic. And we're going to sit down now. Because think of it this way. Let's say instead of spending that $1,000 on a new window, I spent that $1,000 on a new suit. Then I would have still paid that $1,000 to the tailor, who could have then given some of that money to his employees. Those employees would have then spent that money with their at the stores that they like to go on. It's the exact same chain of reasoning. Except this time, I have a new suit and a window. But by breaking my window, Billy robbed society of a suit. The cost of breaking a window was a suit. That's how we're going to think about things. And that's why we're going to teach you to think in this class, in economics, law, and policy. So welcome. My actual name is Ash Navabi. If you get emails from me, it's going to be a much longer, more complicated name. Let's go through the syllabus. Okay, so before we begin, everyone know what a syllabus is? What is a syllabus? Tell me this. You guys have been in university for at least one semester. What is a syllabus? Anybody at all? No. Syllabus tells you the expectations of the class, of the course. There's something else we'll be getting on Wednesday. That's going to be the course outline. It's going to be a week-by-week breakdown of what to expect from this class. So you got the calendar description there, you got the course description. So the first thing to notice is actually right at the very beginning. It says credit weight at the top, 1.0. This is a double credit class, okay? This means this one class counts as 2 classes in your schedule. You get twice the weight. I know some of you had a similar class last semester. This class is going to be slightly different from how that class was run. Time's up. There will be labs in this class. Labs will be on Wednesdays and Fridays. Everybody know what labs they're in? Yes, perfect. There will be a final exam, of course, April 14th, 7 to 9 p.m. So these 3 fine people at the front, these are your teaching assistants. They'll be running the labs. Okay? They'll be your point of contact for most of the semester when you want quick information by email. I will have office hours as well. The reason it's TBA in here because I want to get a sense of what your course schedule is like. Who has a class immediately before this class? Okay, most of you. Who has a class immediately after this class? Again, most of you. Who's got a class? Who is not available before 5 p.m. on Mondays at all? Okay? And is it who prefers before class office hours? Who prefers before class and then after class? Okay, we'll do it before class. So my office hours will be from 11 a.m. until class starts. Does that not work for anyone? Perfect. So scratch that, add that in there. Office hours 11 a.m. on Mondays. So, for the learning resources, right now there's listed 1 textbook. This is a textbook that you're going to have to buy. You don't have to buy the latest edition, although the latest edition is available at the bookstore. You can also buy the previous edition, just some chapters are going to be switched around. There is also a second textbook, but that's available completely online. It's by Elizabeth Brubeck. That's going to be on this course outline we'll give you on Wednesday. So let's go through the learning outcomes I expect. There's 9 of them. I'm not going to go through them all right now. You can read this on your own. But lectures are going to be, so this is a 50-minute class. 50-minute class, 5 minutes you're going to come in, still settling down, gossiping with your friends. 5 minutes towards the end, some of you are going to start packing up to launch your next class. So we have really like 40 minutes of class time. So it's really, really important to get here on time and not be distracting. Because of that, I'm actually going to recommend or ask you guys to, when we start in earnest on Wednesday, not to bring or don't open your laptops. I'm recording these lectures. The reason I'm recording these lectures is I'm going to put them on CourseLink. And I actually would, in addition to not opening your laptops, I would actually prefer you guys even take notes. Like, I know some of you like to scribble down notes, write down whatever is on the slides, etc. In my opinion, you can't be writing and listening at the same time. And in this class, it's really important to listen because I'm going to ask you guys to engage and participate a lot. And if you're writing down, I don't expect you to be listening as well, and you're going to be messing up. So I'm recording it, put it on CourseLink, you can play it back, double speed if you want, and then take notes that way. But these are just recommendations. There's also, because it's a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class, and the course is Introduction to Environmental Economics, Law, and Policy. I'm going to break it down as Mondays are economics, Wednesdays are law, Fridays are policy. Okay? Has anyone actually taken an economics class before? None at all. Perfect. You have it behind you.
Question. So if you're not those ones to take notes from board, can you put your notes on post-it?
So most of the time I'll be lecturing like this right now, but if I do write down anything or have any slides, 100% they'll be on course. Yes?
As of right now, the course link is still set up for.
The previous year.
Is
Right.
that going to change?
That's going to change today or tomorrow. Anyone other questions? Okay, so I really like questions. So I would love it if you guys, while I'm lecturing, feel free to put your hand up, say, hey, I don't understand, but what about this, what about that? I would love it if you guys could do that. I do not expect you to be able to do that. On the course outline, you'll see that for every class, there's going to be a reading associated with that class. That's not going to be on your syllabus. So another thing will be on Wednesday. There's going to be a reading for every class. The reading you do after class. Okay? The readings are for after class. This is a double credit course. It's double credit course even though you have the same number of lecture hours. It's double credit because you're expected to do a lot of self-directed learning. And I don't trust you guys to self-direct so much, so I gave you how to direct yourselves. Okay? So we have the readings. You've got to do the readings. So there's going to be a quiz every other week. It's an online quiz. You'll have 1 week to do the quiz. You get 4 attempts at the quiz. Okay? 4 attempts at the quiz, 1 week to do the quiz. It will cover the stuff of the previous week. So we have the quizzes out of the way. There will be something called a hearing. So hearing isn't listening. So we have governmental hearings all the time. Anyone know what a hearing is, a governmental hearing? Okay, it's sort of like a trial. You go to courts, but it's not a real court. It's a tribunal, it's a sort of quasi-court, but the process is the same. The process is, you go in, you have evidence, you make arguments, there's an opposing side, and then there's a neutral adjudicator. Okay? So there are 3 parties. There is the party making the case for, the party making the case against, and the party judging which side to believe. Your labs will be doing other readings too, but during your labs we'll be doing these hearing sessions, and there are 3 hearings for the year. You'll be split up into groups, and the groups will be in 3s. And in your group of 3 groups, you will each have a chance to be on the pro side, on the anti side, and on the adjudicator side. Okay? Because this is a group project, you guys are going to be doing a lot of teamwork. And I know when there's teamwork, there's always going to be what you'll learn is going to be called in economics a free rider, a lazy bum, right? Doesn't contribute, doesn't show up, whatever. So I'm trying to minimize the incidence of free bums, of free riders in these team settings. How I'm doing that is that at the beginning of every class, the first 5 minutes while you're all coming in here anyway, actually I'm going to have you guys, I'm going to have a seating arrangements with your groups. You come in, you sit with your group, you get 5 minutes to talk with your group about how you want to prepare for your meeting, for your hearing, okay? That way, no one can come to me later with an excuse saying, oh, our team didn't have time to meet or whatever. It's during class time, no excuses that way. There are a ton of resources for readings, right? The readings will cover actual hearings. There will be actual, the laws and how the court processes are, those are in the readings. The TAs Tasmia, over there, she was a TA for this class last year, so she has good experience with the readings. And Danielle, she has taken this class previously, and she did very well in this class, so she knows exactly how to do well in the readings. And Danielle, can you tell me, can you do well in the readings and the hearings by doing things last minute?
No,
No.
definitely not.
Definitely not, and that's from someone who did really well. Okay? Speaking of doing well, look to the person on your left. And look to the person on your right. Look to the person behind you, and look to the person in front of you. Okay? You don't know where this is going. There's no reason that every single person you looked at, including yourself, can't finish this class with an A. Okay? As long as you do the readings, come to class, go to the labs, and actually pay attention, you can get an A. An A in this class, the standard for an A is comprehension. Did you just understand what was being said, what was being written, what was being explored in this classroom? That's A, okay? And that's a low bar for any other class. But because you guys are not economics majors, I just want you to get out just understanding what economics is. If you go above and beyond understanding, so you're then applying these learnings to something outside of class, that's an A+. Okay? I don't expect anyone to get an A+, but I do expect a lot of you to get A's. If you just do the readings, show the class, go to the lectures, go to the labs. It's possible. It's not hard. Well, it's going to be hard. It's going to be twice as hard as any other class you've taken, but you're going to get twice the credits. Does it make sense? Is that fair? Okay? Even though twice the readings, okay? That's going to be another thing. This is going to scare you. When you see this, it's going to really scare you. Look at, so this is the course outline. This is 13 weeks of classes. And then these are all the readings that you're going to have to do. All of these guys, and then all of these guys, and then you think you're done, but there's some on the back too. This is a lot of reading. This is a lot of reading. I'm not screwing around, okay? This is a ton of reading, but you can do it. I know you can do it because Danielle's done this. Danielle can do it, you can do it. Danielle, can you hold up your hand? How many fingers does Danielle have?
5.
5. How many fingers do most of you have? 5. How many heads does Danielle have? 1. You all have 1 head. You all have 1 brain. The same as many brains as Danielle. Danielle used her brain to get an A. You can use your brain to get an A for the same reason. Does that make sense? Marking. This course has a reputation of marking very strictly. Okay? That reputation is well deserved. Do not think you can say, this is close enough. I can get full marks. That's not a good attitude to have if you're looking to do well. Speaking of attitudes, let's talk about attitudes for reading a textbook. You all are still in your first year of university. You all went through high school. You know what a textbook looks like. I'm certain none of you actually know how to read a textbook. Textbooks are different from regular books. A regular book doesn't have exercises at the back. A regular book doesn't have all these random things that are highlighted, all these things, further readings, generous tables, bolding, and all this crap. That doesn't exist in a regular book, in a novel. If a regular book isn't written like a textbook, should you read a textbook like a regular book? No. But I know for a fact, all of you try to read textbooks like they're normal books. And then what's worse is that you try to read textbooks like normal books, like the night before the exam. You're laughing because it happens. I see it. You all do it. I did it too. It's fine, but it's not gonna pay off. How you read a textbook is like this. First of all, you sit your ass down in a chair and don't expect to get up for a while. Okay, that's rule number one. Don't expect to get up for a while. Then, you open the textbook to the chapter of interest, and this is how I want you to read it. So this is chapter 5 of this book. This is the exact speed I want you to read it. I want you to nod your head along. Maybe go, to yourself. Oh, I see. And then that's it. We're at the end of the chapter. At the end of every chapter, there's some problems. Don't do the problems, obviously, because you don't know what the heck. When you're flipping through the pages, you're just looking for the graphs. You're looking for words in bold. You're looking for something called marginalia. So these are called the margins of the textbook. The textbook that you'll be assigned will have little notes in the margin. Those little notes in the margin are telling you what the paragraph is trying to say. You just kind of glance over those, so you just get an understanding, a bare familiarity with the words, with the language, with the broad, super broad concepts. And then you go to the questions at the back. And then you just read the questions. Don't try to answer them at all. Just read the questions. And now you know what the textbook author thinks is the most important points of the textbook, of the previous chapter. You then go back to the beginning of the chapter. Now you read properly. And now you know what to expect, how long to expect it, and then what the textbook expects from you. Okay? You also, there's two kinds of reading. There's passive reading, and there's active reading. Passive reading is just rote memorization. How many of you guys are in the environmental science program? Almost all. Anyone in the business, environmental business? Oh, really? Just, no, okay. So, for the scientists, and then anyone not in either of those? Okay. So for the scientists among you, what you've probably done your whole life is there's an equation, and you memorize that equation, and then you try to apply it to your exam. The famous example, probably all of you guys took grade 10 math, where you had to solve the quadratic formula, right? Anyone can remember the quadratic formula? Just shout it out. X equals minus b plus or minus divided by, okay. That is how you've been taught science. And that, by the way, is a totally wrong way of doing science. You're going to forget this. You remember this now because you just finished high school a year ago. 10 years from now, most of you are going to forget this. We've been teaching the quadratic formula the same damn way for 1,000 years. 1,000 years, people have been teaching the quadratic formula to teenagers by telling them memorize this formula. Just 2 months ago, a professor at Columbia University discovered a new way of deriving the quadratic formula and teaching it to students in a way that they won't have to memorize the formula at all. Okay? That's real learning. That's active learning. He was studying the quadratic formula, why it exists, why it's such a mess to use, and he thought to himself, why does it have to be this way? And he looked at the previous sources, and he came up with a new idea of what to do. Environmental science. Who knows the order of the planets? Hands up if you know the order of the planets of the solar system. Anyone at all? You, man. Order of the planets, starting from the sun. After the sun is Mercury, Venus, out loud, please. Well, almost, sort of. Okay. So, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, we call those the interior planets. Out of these, did you guys learn which is the closest to the Earth in class? No? Well, most people, when you ask them, most scientists, professional scientists, you ask them, which is the closest planet to the Earth? They'll tell you it's going to be Venus, unless Venus, because it orbits around the sun, Venus is on the other side of the sun, then sometimes Mars is going to be the closest. For 500 years, that's how people have been thinking about astronomy. In March of 2019, someone sat down and said, wait a minute, what does it mean to be the closest planet to another planet when all the planets are orbiting the sun? What does it mean to mean most closest? So he actually took some data of all the planets orbiting around the sun and their relative positions to Earth. And the planet that he found was actually closest to the Earth wasn't Venus, wasn't even Mars, it was Mercury. Which planet do you think is closest to Jupiter? It's also Mercury. Which planet is closest to Neptune? Also Mercury. Which planet is closest to Uranus? Also Mercury. Which is closer to the Earth? Mercury or the Sun? It's the Sun. No one even conceived of this question until March of 2019. Okay? 500 years of astronomy out the window because someone just asked the basic question, what does it mean to be the most closest? And then sat down and then did some work, figure it out. Okay? Active reading is reading about a topic and then thinking about it out loud. You ask questions about what you just read. And the best way to ask questions is asking them out loud with a friend, with a parent, with a partner, someone else. Okay? Sometimes I like to talk to myself when I'm driving, thinking out loud. Doesn't work for everyone, works for me. But you gotta be hearing yourself say the words. Sometimes you think you've got something figured out in your head, and then someone asks you to spit it out, and you mess it up. You don't have to be that way if you're just constantly talking about things. How many for time? 15 minutes. So of course, accessibility. If you need accessibility issues, don't come to me. Go to the accessibility office. Accessibility issues for professors are on a need-to-know basis. It is not my need to know everyone's disabilities. If you have one, go to the office, and then they will tell me anything that I need to know. You guys know about the drop days. Academic integrity. Cheating. You guys know what cheating looks like. You know what it is. In this class, you don't have midterms, you just have those bi-weekly quizzes. The quizzes I ask you to do individually. I can't enforce that, but I trust you guys to be able to do that individually. Okay? Feel free to talk about your approaches beforehand, but just do the quiz on your own. Just do that, please, for me. There are also homework assignments that I've listed on the course outline, but they're not in the syllabus. The homework assignments are not graded. Okay? I'll be assigning homework. It's not going to be graded. Why? Because the quizzes are multiple choice. Okay? Quizzes are multiple choice. They're from a test bank from the textbook, plus some of my own questions in there too. And then it's going to draw randomly from these things. So even if you guys wanted to cheat, there's high likelihood there's 1,000 questions. Very unlikely that you guys are going to be getting the same questions. But don't try to do that anymore. The homework assignments are written answer. They're not multiple choice, and they're up to you. And you can come to office hours to discuss the questions. And the reason I do this is because the final is going to be both multiple choice and long answer. And your practice for the long answer questions is going to be from the homeworks. They're just not going to be graded, but I'd be happy to talk to you about them if you come to office hours. And I know for most classes, people don't show up to office hours. This is my way of trying to encourage more people to come to office hours. Of course, you can also request special office hours if you need them by email. My email's on there. The final is going to be comprehensive. Okay? Don't think it's going to be mostly on the last stuff, not on the further stuff. It's going to be pretty evenly spread out throughout the semester. And once again, looking for precise answers. I don't want the right answer, okay? I don't expect you guys to give the right answer all the time. It's still possible for the long answer questions. It's possible to give a wrong answer, but for good reasons. And I'll tell you how. Think of a story. Think of this story. A girl's mother dies, and her husband remarries an old battle axe. And she now has 2 new stepsisters as well. The new step family of this girl doesn't like her at all. They keep her in a dungeon, and then one day the prince has a big ball, a big party, and they invite everyone. He invites everyone in the city, but they won't let our own little dungeon girl to the party. And then everyone goes to the party except this dungeon girl, and then a magical fairy shows up, yada yada yada. She gets up, ends up getting married to the prince. You all recognize that story, okay? You also recognize Cinderella, the movie. Some of you may have even read books on Cinderella. Everybody knows Cinderella comes in different versions. I just gave you my version. Which do you prefer, my version or Disney's version? Disney, right? Of course, it's the same story, but Disney told the story in a better way. If you actually read the original Cinderella story, it was actually worse than what I just gave you right now. It was terrible. It's like a 1-page story. It was bad. How you tell a story matters, okay? You can tell the story of something nasty happening, but it'll still be a good story. Hamlet, you all read Hamlet? Probably didn't understand. Science students. But if you had any people who were big fans of English and they read Hamlet, they could say, oh, it's such a compelling story. But if you really just abstract away from what Hamlet really is, it's a guy whose dad dies, and then a bunch of things happen, but none of those things prove anything. Just a bunch of random things happen. He kills a guy, nothing happens. He sees a ghost, but maybe it's not a ghost. And then at the end, he dies. So it's a story where one guy dies, and then his son dies, and then nothing, some people die in the middle, but no problem gets resolved. But English majors tell us that this is the greatest story ever written. Okay? It's because it's not about what your story is about, but how you tell it. All right? Same with the long answer questions. Because this isn't an economics class, I don't expect you to get the right answer. If you do get the right answer and tell a good reason why, then you get 4 marks. If you get the wrong answer, but you get good reasons why, then you'll get good marks. Okay? But if you get the right answer, but give bad reasons why, you might even get a 0. Because you would just guess that. I don't really want to guess. All right? Any questions at all about the semester? Any questions at all? Okay? So, when are you supposed to do the readings for each lecture? Before or after? After. When are you supposed to go to labs? All the time or sometimes? All the time. How much of the readings are you supposed to do? All of them or just kind of none of them? All of them, okay? So you all are part of this now. we now have a contract between us. I put forward some terms. You agree to those terms by your own words. So we'll see you on Wednesday. Thank you. Sorry. One thing to note. So I said do the readings before the lectures, okay? But when it comes to the labs, do the readings before the labs. After the lecture, before the lab. Okay? Say it with me. After the lecture, before the lab. Okay. Get out of here.